For more on the French election, we're joined from Paris by Professor Joav Toker. Thank you so much for joining us. You work with students every day. What has been their reaction to this election, and who do they seem to be leaning toward voting for? And is social media playing a big part in this election, as we saw in the United States presidential election?
Yes, indeed. Social media and virtual age media in the large sense do play a major role, but I would nuance it by saying that social media play a specific role over specific groups within the electorate. So, of course, if you compare this election campaign to the previous one 5 years ago or 10 years ago, and then, of course, you see how advanced is the role of social media in the context of the overall impact regarding the elections. But if you look at the entire spread of the electorate, then you'd see that perhaps 2/3 of the electorate is not sensitive to what social media run through. So we have conflicting elements here, and the bottom line is that traditional media, broadcasting, is still by far the most influential set of media and set of outlets in terms of impact on the campaign.
Tell us about the impact of this massive hack attack that we've seen on the candidate Emmanuel Macron, and what people are saying. He can't even respond to this.
Not only he cannot respond, this is a very strange and awkward situation, even in the relativity of that awkwardness accompanying in America and now here in France and elsewhere, the hackers' intervention in crucial moments of the election campaign. So first of all, as Kate Parkinson explained a few minutes ago, French media cannot report about it. They can report about the fact that there are hack material in the air, but they cannot report about the content of whatever there is there, if there is there. And I would imagine that there is something there over these thousands and thousands of emails which the mysterious hackers linked to Russia and to Moscow operations in a way which is very similar to the kind of accusations we have heard over the last phases of the Clinton-Trump campaign in the fall in America. So you do not have any information here in France about the content of that. And I would even say that if our conversation right now between Paris and Washington would have not been on a foreign media, on a non-French media, neither you would be able to put this question to me, neither would I be able to answer your question, because both of us would be breaking the law.
It's such an exciting election to watch. All eyes on France. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the first time in 60 years that the Socialist and the Republican Party are not even represented. We're seeing long lines from the French voters abroad. Is this an indication, I would assume, of all the interest in this election?
That's correct. That's correct. The fact the traditional, the basic traditional forces, two radically opposite forces, the left, the gauche, as they call it here, and the droite, the right wing, or conservatives and liberals, if you wish, in American terms, have disappeared for the roundup. Right? So we have two candidates which are indeed away from the system candidates, very differently so, and there is a large and powerful anti-voting reflexes, namely many of those who will be voting mainly for Mr. Macron would do it in order to block Madame Le Pen's associated with the extreme right, and even some say with neo-fascist trends. So there are many particularities over these elections, and they do suscite a large interest, even more than usual.
Well, Professor Toker, wonderful to see you, and thank you so much for sharing your insight with us.